Hey everyone, this is Laura Gadenik with Laura Gadenik Astrology, and I'm here to give you the astrology for the weeks of June 13th through the 26th, 2022. So on Monday the 13th, we have Mercury heading into the sign of Gemini again. So this is the second time because Mercury first entered Gemini on April 30th, traveled a little bit through Gemini up until 4 degrees and then stationed retrograde and traveled back into Taurus. So we're having Mercury re-enter its own home sign of Gemini, which suggests that communications will be much quicker, more efficient, more streamlined, and in general, communication is more emphasized during this time with Mercury in Gemini, because Gemini is also a sign about communication. Additionally, Mercury ruled houses should become easier at this time because Mercury is in its own home sign of Gemini. So whatever house that you have Gemini on the cusp of and Virgo, those significations should run more smoothly, especially now that Mercury is out of retrograde and moving forwards again. So things in general should feel like they're moving forwards again as well. However, we're still in Mercury's shadow. So when Mercury stationed retrograde at 4 degrees of Gemini, it traveled all the way back to 25 degrees of Taurus, turned around and started moving forwards again through the same territory for the third time. So we are still in that same territory that Mercury retrograded through, which suggests that we're not quite done with the Mercury retrograde process. We're in the phase of redoing what was perhaps done during Mercury's retrograde. So, for instance, I bought an AC unit from someone who previously rented this room back while Mercury was retrograde. I should have known. And now I'm actually probably going to have to return the AC unit because it doesn't work. So I'm retracing my footsteps. I'm having to give back something that I tried to get and hopefully get my money back. So it's kind of like things like this that are coming up again to be redone, essentially. So that's pretty common for Mercury retrograde, those kind of mishaps, like having to return things, having to talk about something again, missing an email or a piece of information and finding it now in this phase while Mercury's moving forwards. What else? Yeah, returning things that you've bought. I already mentioned that. Yeah, so at least these things are getting easier now that Mercury's moving forward, but we're still in that kind of territory of having to redo. So yeah, we're picking maybe projects back up as well that we left since Mercury was in Gemini last time. Yeah, just kind of like picking back up what was left off. There's probably going to be a desire to chat more, to talk more, to communicate more. Once again, Mercury is communication in the mind. And, our minds are still on what we've been reflecting on through this Mercury retrograde cycle. So, and that'll probably be wherever Mercury has been retrograding for you. So if you know where 4 degrees of Gemini to 25 degrees of Taurus is in your chart, that area of your life is probably what you've been reflecting on, and you might be finding answers as well now as Mercury's moving forward. Okay, Tuesday the 14th, we have a full moon in Sagittarius at 23 degrees. We had an eclipse at this point back in 2021. So, whatever major changes were happening back in 2021 when we were having eclipses happen in Gemini and Sagittarius, those changes might be being revisited at this time. Full moons are moments of culmination, of something coming to light, of something that was maybe previously hidden or unknown or unseen, being shined, having a light shined on that. And it might revolve around the topics of, or it will revolve around the topics of, whatever house has Sagittarius on the cusp, but it's happening at the same degree as that eclipse that we had in 2021. So it makes me think that a similar topic is being revisited, maybe a change you made back in 2021. In general, Sagittarius is a sign about faith, spirituality, beliefs. And so this full moon really brings to mind, what do you believe? What do you have faith in? What is your sense of spirituality? And there might be something revealed to you about that. Okay, Wednesday the 15th, Mars is conjoining with Chiron in Aries. Ouch. Chiron is an asteroid that relates to where we've been wounded and where we might have some pain or trauma, and also where we're trying to help heal other people. However, that's more like Chiron in your natal birth chart. Transiting Chiron, whenever it's aspected in a conjunction or square or opposition, it can just feel a bit painful or tender. And Mars is a malefic planet. It's the god of war. It rules over things that are sharp, knives, weapons, etc. So be mindful of Wednesday. This could feel like a wound being revealed or being revved up. Mars rules over our anger, how we fight, how we go after what we want, aggression. So, if you are the person receiving aggression, maybe from someone else, know about this transit. And if you're feeling anger or aggression or irritation in yourself, just be mindful of how you come across to others, or maybe lash out, and just recognizing that there might be something there to look at. And not to say that we can't express anger or irritation. We definitely don't want to put it on other people, but we don't want to ignore it or repress it as well. So Mars is heat and Chiron is that pain or that wound. So there's just kind of this sense of maybe that being irritated or acting up. Could be an opportunity to heal as well whenever Chiron is aspected. Yes, there's that opportunity for, or that chance of pain, but also there's the opportunity of being healed or working on one's own healing. Excuse me. So that's Wednesday the 15th. Thursday the 16th, the Sun in Gemini makes a trine to Saturn, while at the same time, the Sun in Gemini is making a square to Neptune. So Sun trine Saturn is all about sustained effort and focus, really discipline, being able to get something done. However, Sun square Neptune is kind of nebulous and confusing and kind of foggy, right? So there's kind of maybe this quality of both having to work on something hard or for a long time that requires sustained effort or concentration, but it might be a bit confusing or just kind of overwhelming for you. So it's a short transit, it'll pass. It's not too big of a deal, but just recognize that there's this element of sifting through fog while feeling like you want to ground into something and be grounded. Venus is also conjoining the North Node on this day. So Venus represents our desires and what we want in general, and also pleasure, fun, beauty, connection. And so with Venus conjoining the North Node often signifies kind of what we long for. It can be kind of this hungry ghost quality. So just, recognizing that there might be an increase in desires, which isn't bad at all, but it can create pain maybe if we aren't able to obtain those desires, if that makes sense. So just something to think about. Saturday the 18th, Venus in Taurus is making a square to Saturn in Aquarius. She's also making a sextile to Neptune as well. So Venus is pleasure, fun, relationships, beauty. Saturn is often the negation of those things. Saturn says no. Saturn has boundaries. Saturn is about limitation. Saturn is about hard work, not fun and pleasure, but hard work. So this might be a day, couple days even leading up to Saturday, of feeling like there's a no, being told no, the negation of fun and pleasure, having a hard conversation in a relationship, a boundary coming up, kind of those kinds of significations. And obviously this is going to be very different for every person depending on where this is happening in your chart. It could be, for example, if Venus is in the 10th house of career, this might be like, being told no or having a hard conversation from like a boss who is a femme person or something like that. This could also be about pushing hard to create a work of art and really applying oneself and through discipline and practice. So I'm thinking like, like an art form like dance, or, if you're a dancer, you might be training really hard for something or something of that nature. I know that weekend I will be doing like a shibari workshop actually. And this is an art form using rope to tie people up essentially. And it's kind of like playing with this idea of bondage and freedom. And there's a lot of healing that can be done through that art form, but it really makes me think of this Venus-Saturn square. Venus being art form expression, sensuality, bondage being Saturn, like being limited, being tied up, right? And also the kind of the element of freedom, because Venus is in the sign of Taurus where Uranus is right now. Uranus is a planet about freedom and innovation and revolution. So it just feels kind of similar to that energy. And I think if you can find a way to utilize the energy of Venus square Saturn in some way, utilize it constructively, then it might not be as negative or painful or whatever as it could be. So use the energy if you can. Okay, Monday the 20th, Mercury in Gemini makes a sextile to Jupiter in Aries. This is the second time, kind of. So the first time exact was May 20th, while Mercury was retrograde. Although we really would have felt it from May 16th through the 23rd. Mercury would have been within a 3-degree range of Jupiter in Aries. And this is really this is a good aspect. This is about having an optimistic mind, having new ideas about growth, having maybe philosophical conversations, a sense of peace, a sense of faith in something, a sense of oneness, or just kind of a sense that everything's going to be okay and work out, right? Jupiter is one of the benefics in astrology and brings that sense of goodwill, good fortune, generosity, and hope. So, and it might relate to that first sextile back in May, either May 16th or the 23rd, or maybe like May 20th. So look back on your calendar and see what was going on that day. It might relate to that. Okay, Tuesday the 21st, Venus is making a trine to Pluto. This is kind of similar to when Mercury trined Pluto on the 10th of June. So Pluto is a planet about intensity, passion, looking beneath the surface of things, wanting to kind of get to the root. Venus, once again, about pleasure, relationships, beauty, fun. So this is really about having a deep connection with someone, deep, honest connection with others, with ease, an urge to dive deep, to go beneath the surface, a sense of intimacy and passion. Definitely a really good day to go out on a date or spend time with a loved one in a more romantic way, if that is available to you. It's definitely like a really kind of juicy aspect, so I would recommend using it. Okay, Wednesday the 22nd, Venus moves into Gemini. So Venus in Gemini is super playful. Gemini is a very playful sign. It's Mercury's sign, so it's the sign of the mind. So there's kind of this element of like with Venus and Gemini being kind of flirty, wanting to play around, wanting to have fun in a non-serious way, maybe play jokes on others or play games, particularly word games, because Gemini rules over words and communication. It's a very flirty placement for Venus to be. And it also, Venus, wherever she is, she brings sweetness to the part of the chart that she's traveling through. And so whatever house that you have Gemini on the cusp of, Venus is going to bring sweetness, joy, good fortune, maybe attraction, pleasures. I remember a couple years ago, I think this was in 2020 or 2019, I think, Venus was moving through Gemini, which is my rising sign. And it was like the day or the day after Venus was conjunct my rising sign. I was flying to Portland for a wedding, and I got the opportunity to like get on a later flight, and I got $500. So it was like a total random, like kind of good fortune moment. And I was just like, oh, Venus is delivering at this moment. You know, she's delivering a piece of good fortune to me. So all of you Gemini risings out there with Venus and Gemini, it's going to be some good times for you. So, yeah. So that is the astrology of this full moon cycle and the next 2 weeks. And I hope it goes well for you. Please reach out with any questions, concerns, and if you're curious about how these aspects are playing out in your birth chart, we can always schedule a reading. I do all sorts of readings. Please let me know if that interests you. Otherwise, I will be back in a couple weeks for another astrological update, and I hope you have a wonderful couple weeks.